have the inside info, but sometimes the surprises are what really brings the joy out. Welcome back to the Sunshine State Rails. We're beginning this video, or rather continuing this day, from February 13th, 2021. After finishing a landscaping project up in Sun City, Florida, we came down to Palmetto after hearing word from my friend Danny that 0750 was picking up a duty that we didn't expect him to. In a video prior, he passed us with one rock hopper and a tank car, and nothing about that lineup would have told us in any shape or form that he would reach Palmetto and pull out 64 empty hoppers. We're down at 16th Street in Palmetto, about a quarter mile from the dumper at Conrad Yelvington. When we arrived, there were two cuts of rock hoppers on this track, having been separated at the road crossing to allow traffic to pass through. But now that their power was here, it was time to connect the two sets again, backing across 16th Street and coupling up to the extra cut.
On the pier. Good. Stretch.
As with any time that 750 pulls a cut of cars south of Port Manatee, he has to run across the Big Manatee River and into Bradenton to use the siding in Bradenton to run the engine around from the one end of the train to the other so they can pull it back north to where they started in Tampa. So the Big Manatee drawbridge was lowered, and in almost no time at all, 075013 crossed the river with his giant train. River walk, which runs along the banks of the Big Manatee River and crosses the tracks here, has always been a popular photo spot for rail fans in this town, and the trains that pass by always attract a crowd of some size or another. Obviously, we don't catch this move very often, but when we do, it's always an interesting sight to see. A long line of rock hoppers in the spot that you would usually expect to see Tropicana juice reefers. Leaving the hoppers on the main and using the siding to move the engine from one end of the train to the other, it was a fairly quick maneuver, taking only about 20 minutes from start to finish.
Stop that engine just to see it.
One more request for that Big Manatee River, and 075013 is ready to begin his northward trip with his empty train. Again, rock hoppers in a place that you would expect to see Tropicana. Crazy. We thought we'd get one more shot of this train somewhat on the move, so we moved right across the river into Palmetto, to which the train would come to a stop at the Parish Spur switch, which is where they would have pulled the empty rock hoppers off of, to line the switch back for the main. This saved them from having to do it on their way out and walk the train. And after the switch was lined, it gives us the opportunity to hear what a GP rebuild really sounds like when it's put under the load of 64 cars. Off goes our 64 car 0750 back north to Tampa, to which these cars will take off back likely for K-Mac, Georgia within the coming days. With this shot in the bag, we had some errands to attend to, but we'd be back tomorrow. Yes, back at our Sun City location where we got that landscaping work done. 2 GVOs is all that's needed to pull these 8 cars of loaded Tropicana products north out of Bradenton this morning, though this day at this point wasn't looking to be anything too special with a train like this. It would turn into what will probably go down as one of my catches of this year, and I'm willing to say that already. Well, need I say more? And to think that we just stumbled upon this by pure chance and no tracking involved. Here we are at the west end of CSX's Yeoman Yard. The 2 locomotives on the left are 2 GE ES44 AHs, having just come off of QO45 intermodal to this spot the night before. And off to the right is unbelievably 075014. Oh yeah, that's right, today's Valentine's Day. Well, I guess I got my gift from someone today. I'm not going to spiel on about this train just yet, but I'll just say this. Take a note of how slow they're moving now. Even with their engine maxed out according to the radio, they still couldn't get this train above a car length a minute in motion. And after asking Yeoman for an extra engine to get the job done, they denied. So they were forced to make do with what they got. Eventually, though, they got it dug in and started rolling again. I was wondering why 750 was a little later than normal today, and now I see why. It wasn't long later that the golden 750 got a ZC1 to come out of the yard and head to the bottom.
Hi, Rob, ZC1 number 93268, 93268, 021421, SA41.0. 075014, 5433, Harris, copying. Circle line 1A, main track, both directions. NAS East Tampa on the main track. AZA 916.8 on the main track. Circle line 11. Okay, on the switches. AZA 906.1, 905.2, 914.6, and the 890.2.
Overjoyed to say that this is the train we'd be chasing today. 075014 with a solo ES40 DC, long hood forward, and a train of 63 loaded rock hoppers headed down to Palmetto, and a center beam bound for somewhere near Gibsonton, which they would drop at Port Manatee once they got there. The fact that their GEVO was running long hood forward would also make this chase a bit easier, since due to them having no ditch lights on the train, they would be limited to 20 miles an hour the entire way down. St. Paul Street, near Rockport and the north end of Sutton Siding, and about a mile and a half south of here, signal territory would end and the train would enter the Palmetto subdivision, which would be all dark territory. And must I say, the horn on this GEVO, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect. Leapfrogging him to another favorite spot of mine, just across the Alafia River to the south, Gibsonton. And it was here that we were starting to see the remnants of the storm that was soon to move in as this train moved on south. By the end of this train's chase, we'll have hit this storm head on. Skies are getting dark now. About 15 miles later, we're down to the Little Manatee River that is undergoing changes that have changed this spot forever. And as y'all have probably heard by this point, some of the last original pieces to this spot are the signals. I thought I'd take the advantage of this train to shoot the north side signal as 750 cleared it. loaded center beam has reached the end of the line for now. Since we have now reached Port Manatee, they are going to drop off the center beam in the yard here and pick it up on their way back north later today. Since I didn't have the drone with me today and there's no way to access that south side switch, you'll just have to take my word that that's how they dropped it off. Moving right around the corner to get the curve shot at Port Manatee, this video really goes to show you how brutal rock hoppers can be sometimes. You saw how hard that Jeep had to work to get those 64 moving. Now you get to see how hard a Gevo needs to work to get 63 loads moving again, as we're only about a quarter mile from where we were before. Third Street now, and those clouds are getting heavy. Finally, just after 4:45 p.m., 075014 lugs his 63 rock loads into Palmetto. The rains had gotten here before we did, but there was more to come. Now, I don't know what happened here, but the brake line pressure dumped and the train went into emergency right here. Again, I don't know the reasoning behind this, but in a couple minutes they got the train rolling again. but thank God I had an umbrella with me because the rains came down as he started to roll. And when I tell you it poured when I was standing out here, props to this conductor on this job today, working through this storm no matter what. Meanwhile, I'm just standing on the sidewalk trying to protect my equipment from the rain with an umbrella that's trying to blow away. But with the parish spur switch lined and reversed, the train can now back onto the spur only about a mile from their destination.
Yeah, that was hard. That's 4 cars, come up stone. Okay, Dr. 86 over. 6. You don't stop at 301.
Understand, over.
Yeah, go for the code, 288.
Crazy to say, but this is where the journey finally concludes. 750 backing his 60-plus car train onto the spur for momentary delivery to Conrad Yelvington. What can I say? I guess I'm going to have to call this the glorified Stone 3.0. And as for 3.0, the best out of the three. This is a train with an engine that I'm probably not going to be able to top for quite some time. Again, a long video, but I tried to keep it as interesting as I could throughout the entire way, and I appreciate you watching what you could or did as always. So, in Palmetto, Florida, this is Kotabeaner, and I'll see y'all out there next time on the Sunshine State Rails.
4-2.